Standing at the heart of Florence is one of the most breathtaking architectural ensembles in the world, the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, known simply as the Duomo, the Piazza del Duomo that frames it, and the ancient Baptistery of San Giovanni. Together, they form the spiritual and cultural core of the city. Construction of the Duomo began in 1296 under architect Arnolfo di Cambio, but its most striking feature, the massive dome, would not be completed until the 15th century. Filippo Brunelleschi, with no formal engineering background, achieved the impossible by designing a dome so vast and daring that it became an engineering marvel of the Renaissance. His innovative techniques inspired countless architects across Europe, and to this day, the red-tiled dome dominates Florence's skyline as the city's proudest symbol. Next to the cathedral stands Giotto's Campanile, a bell tower clad in marble of green, pink, and white. Its elegant design provides not only harmony to the square but also one of the most rewarding climbs in Florence, where each step brings you closer to panoramic views of the city and its surrounding hills. The piazza itself has been a stage for centuries of Florentine life, grand religious processions, civic celebrations, and even moments of turmoil. Every stone seems to echo with the footsteps of artists, philosophers, and leaders who helped shape the Renaissance. Facing the Duomo is the Baptistery of San Giovanni, one of Florence's oldest and most revered buildings, dating back to the 11th century. Its octagonal structure, covered in intricate mosaics, has witnessed generations of Florentines, including members of the powerful Medici family, who were baptized here. Perhaps its most famous feature is the set of bronze doors known as the Gates of Paradise. Crafted by Lorenzo Ghiberti, these panels depict biblical stories with such lifelike detail that Michelangelo himself declared them worthy of heaven. Legends also surround the piazza. One tale says that Dante Alighieri, the great poet, once stood before the baptistery, moved by its beauty, and refused to leave Florence until banishment forced him away. Another story suggests that Brunelleschi kept the method of constructing his dome a secret, fearing rivals would steal his designs. Even today, some say mysteries remain hidden in the bricks of the Great Dome. Together, the Duomo, the Piazza, and the Baptistery are more than monuments. They are living symbols of Florence's devotion to faith, art, and human ingenuity. To stand here is to stand where history was written, myths were born, and the Renaissance itself took flight. River with its unmistakable arches and clustered shops, the Ponte Vecchio is not only Florence's oldest bridge but also one of its most enchanting landmarks. Its name, meaning Old Bridge, reflects a history that stretches back to Roman times. The current structure was rebuilt in the 14th century after a devastating flood, and it has stood ever since as a symbol of resilience and Florentine identity. What makes the Ponte Vecchio so unique are the shops that line both sides of the bridge. In medieval times, these were butchers and tanners, whose waste often flowed into the river below. The smell and the mess became so unbearable that in 1593, Duke Ferdinando de' Medici ordered them replaced with goldsmiths and jewelers. This decision transformed the bridge into a glittering showcase of wealth and artistry, a tradition that continues today with elegant jewelry stores that sparkle in the sunlight. Above the shops runs the Vasari corridor, an elevated passageway built in 1565 by architect Giorgio Vasari. Commissioned by the Medici family, the corridor allowed them to move safely and discreetly between their residence at Palazzo Pitti and the government offices at Palazzo Vecchio. From its windows, they could observe life on the bridge without ever being seen, a reminder of both the grandeur and the caution of Florence's ruling dynasty. The Ponte Vecchio also carries stories of survival. During World War II, as retreating German forces destroyed every other bridge in Florence, this one was spared. Some say it was by direct order of Hitler, who had been so captivated by the bridge's beauty during his visit in the 1930s that he refused to see it destroyed. Instead, surrounding buildings were demolished to block access, but the bridge itself endured. Legends swirl around the bridge as well. One tale claims that couples who attach a lock to the railings and throw the key into the river will secure their love forever. While this practice is no longer permitted, the story continues to draw romantic travelers. Others whisper of secret treasures hidden within the bridge's shops during times of war, guarded by Florence's goldsmiths. Today, the Ponte Vecchio remains a living piece of history. As the sun sets and its golden light reflects off the Arno, the bridge transforms into one of the most romantic scenes in Italy. To walk its length is to follow in the footsteps of merchants, nobles, artists, and lovers across the centuries. The Ponte Vecchio is more than a bridge. It is a passage through time, a reminder of Florence's enduring spirit, and a place where history and legend flow together like the waters of the river below. At the very heart of Florence lies Piazza della Signoria, a stage where history, politics, and art have unfolded for more than 7 centuries. Overlooking the square is the Palazzo Vecchio, a fortress-like palace crowned with its soaring Arnolfo Tower, a symbol of Florence's power and independence. Together, the square and the palace tell the story of a city that gave birth to the Renaissance and shaped the destiny of Europe. The Palazzo Vecchio, first constructed at the end of the 13th century, was built as the seat of government for the Florentine Republic. Its thick stone walls and battlements reflect both the pride and the insecurity of the city during turbulent times. Inside, grand halls decorated with frescoes by Giorgio Vasari celebrate Florence's victories and ambitions, while secret passages and hidden staircases reveal the caution with which its rulers lived. Even today, visitors can climb the tower for one of the most commanding views of Florence, the same vantage point once used to watch for approaching enemies. In front of the palace stretches Piazza della Signoria, which has long served as Florence's open-air gathering place. This was the site of festivals, parades, fiery speeches, and executions. In 1497, the Dominican friar Girolamo Savonarola led his followers in the infamous bonfire of the vanities, burning books, art, and luxury goods that he believed corrupted the soul. Only a year later, Savonarola himself was executed in this very square, a grim reminder of the ever-shifting tides of power. The piazza is also an extraordinary gallery of sculpture. At its entrance once stood Michelangelo's original David, a symbol of the city's defiance, now replaced by a replica. Nearby, the Fountain of Neptune, designed by Bartolomeo Ammanati, reflects Florence's ambitions to rule the seas, even if locals jokingly referred to it as the White Giant. The Loggia dei Lanzi, with its sweeping arches, shelters masterpieces like Benvenuto Cellini's Perseus holding the head of Medusa, a dramatic reminder of myth and artistry combined. Legends abound here as well. Some say the Palazzo Vecchio conceals lost works of Leonardo da Vinci, hidden beneath later frescoes. Others whisper that the stones of the Piazza retain the voices of fiery debates that shaped the course of the Renaissance. Today, the Palazzo Vecchio still serves as Florence's town hall, blending civic life with centuries of history. To stand in Piazza della Signoria is to feel the pulse of Florence itself, a place where beauty and power, art and politics, faith and ambition all collide. It remains a living square, vibrant with life, echoing with the triumphs and struggles of a city that forever changed the world. The Basilica of Santa Croce rises with quiet majesty on the eastern side of Florence, its striking marble facade glowing in the Tuscan light. Known as the Temple of the Italian Glories, it is one of the city's most treasured landmarks, a place where faith, art, and history intertwine. Construction of the basilica began in 1294. Under the design of Arnolfo di Cambio, the same architect who worked on the Duomo. Built by the Franciscan order, Santa Croce reflects their values of simplicity and devotion, yet inside it holds some of the most magnificent art of the Renaissance. Vast fresco cycles by masters such as Giotto and his followers cover the chapels, recounting biblical stories with vivid color and emotion. But what truly sets Santa Croce apart is its role as the resting place of Italy's great minds. Beneath its vaulted ceilings lie the tombs of Michelangelo, Galileo Galilei, Niccolò Machiavelli, and Gioacchino Rossini, among many others. To walk through the basilica is to pass from one genius to another, each monument honoring figures who shaped art, science, politics, and culture. It is a pantheon of Florence's legacy. The basilica has also been a witness to powerful stories. In 1439, the Council of Florence met here, an ambitious attempt to reunite the eastern and western branches of Christianity. Though the effort ultimately failed, the event underscored Florence's influence in global religious life. Legends are woven into its history as well. One tale tells of Dante Alighieri, exiled from Florence, who dreamed of being honored here in death. Although his body lies in Ravenna, a symbolic tomb was built for him inside Santa Croce, a reminder of the city's enduring longing for reconciliation with its most famous poet. The basilica has also endured moments of tragedy. In 1966, a catastrophic flood of the Arno River left the church submerged, its precious frescoes soaked in mud and water. The international response to save these treasures gave rise to the Mud Angels, volunteers who came from around the world to rescue Florence's art. Their efforts are remembered as a symbol of the city's resilience. Beyond the church itself lies a tranquil cloister and the Piazza Chapel, designed by Filippo Brunelleschi. Its perfect proportions and serene atmosphere embody the ideals of Renaissance harmony. Santa Croce is more than a basilica. It is a monument to human achievement, where art and memory come together in one sacred space. To step inside is to walk alongside saints, visionaries, and dreamers whose influence still echoes far beyond Florence's walls. The Basilica of San Lorenzo may appear humble from the outside, with its unfinished stone facade, but within it lies one of the most important chapters in Florence's history. This was the parish church of the Medici family, the dynasty that shaped the city's destiny and fueled the rise of the Renaissance. San Lorenzo is one of Florence's oldest churches, consecrated in the 4th century and rebuilt in the 15th under the direction of Filippo Brunelleschi. His design was groundbreaking, using clean lines, perfect proportions, and light-filled spaces that became hallmarks of Renaissance architecture. Inside, the simplicity of Brunelleschi's vision is balanced by the rich decorations and artworks commissioned by the Medici. The Medici chapels, attached to the basilica, are where the family's power and influence are most vividly displayed. The Chapel of the Princes, with its soaring dome, is an extravagant statement of wealth. Its walls are encrusted with rare marbles and semi-precious stones from across the world, forming one of the most lavish interiors in Florence. Here, the Medici sought to assert their authority not only in life but also in death. Yet it is in the new sacristy, designed by Michelangelo, that art and memory reach their greatest heights. Commissioned to honor members of the Medici dynasty, Michelangelo created monumental sculptures of Dukes Lorenzo and Giuliano, flanked by allegorical figures of night and day, dawn and dusk. These statues are more than tomb decorations. They are meditations on time, mortality, and the fleeting nature of power. Visitors often remark on the tension and vitality of the figures, as if Michelangelo captured the restless energy of the Renaissance itself. Stories and legends surround San Lorenzo as well. One tale says that Brunelleschi died before the church was completed because of bitter rivalries with other architects, leaving his vision unfinished. Another legend suggests that the Medici used the chapels not only as burial sites but also as secret meeting places where political intrigues were hatched. San Lorenzo also played a role in everyday Florentine life. Its cloisters were filled with scholars, merchants, and common people alike, reminding us that the Medici, for all their grandeur, remained deeply connected to the city they ruled. Today, the Basilica of San Lorenzo and the Medici chapels stand as a testament to ambition, art, and the complex legacy of a family that defined an era. To step inside is to encounter not only masterpieces of architecture and sculpture but also the very heartbeat of Renaissance Florence, preserved in stone and memory. On the southern side of the Arno River stands the Grand Palazzo Pitti, a palace that embodies centuries of ambition, art, and power. Its massive stone facade may seem austere at first glance, but within these walls lies one of the richest collections of treasures in Florence. The palace was originally built in the 15th century for Luca Pitti, a wealthy Florentine banker who hoped to outshine the Medici family with a residence more magnificent than their own. Ironically, financial troubles forced the Pitti family to sell the palace, and in the 16th century, it was purchased by none other than the Medici themselves. From then on, the palace became the main residence of Florence's ruling dynasty, a symbol of triumph and legacy. Over the centuries, the Palazzo Pitti expanded into a vast complex of royal apartments, galleries, and museums. Today, it houses masterpieces by Raphael, Titian, Caravaggio, and Rubens, offering visitors an intimate look at the luxury and refinement of Renaissance courts. The Palatine Gallery in particular feels less like a museum and more like a walk through the private collection of Europe's most powerful family. Behind the palace stretches the Boboli Gardens, a masterpiece of landscape design. Created in the 16th century, the gardens set the standard for European courts and inspired the layout of Versailles. Walking through Boboli is like wandering through an open-air museum. Long avenues framed by cypress trees, hidden grottos decorated with mosaics, fountains, and classical statues create a harmonious blend of art and nature. One of the most intriguing features is the Buontalenti Grotto, where art and illusion combine in whimsical sculptures and dripping stone formations. It was designed not just as a retreat but as a place to surprise and entertain guests with a touch of fantasy. Stories swirl around the palace and gardens. It is said that the Medici filled the gardens with exotic plants and rare animals, turning it into a living display of their global power. Another legend claims that secret tunnels linked the palace to other parts of Florence, including the Vasari corridor, ensuring the Medici could move unseen through their city. The Palazzo Pitti and Boboli Gardens are more than just a royal residence and park. They are a statement of dominance, a theater of grandeur, and a celebration of art and beauty. To walk through the palace halls and the shaded avenues of the gardens is to step into the world of Florence's rulers, where every stone and statue was designed to impress and to endure. High above the Arno River, on a hillside overlooking Florence, lies Piazzale Michelangelo, the city's most celebrated viewpoint. From here, the entire sweep of Florence unfolds like a Renaissance painting, the red dome of the Duomo rising proudly above the skyline, the towers of Palazzo Vecchio and Santa Croce, and the graceful arches of Ponte Vecchio stretching across the river. It is the place where Florence reveals itself in all its glory. The Piazzale was designed in 1869 by architect Giuseppe Poggi during a period when Florence briefly became the capital of Italy. Poggi envisioned a grand terrace dedicated to Michelangelo, the city's most revered artist, where visitors could admire not only the panorama but also copies of his works. At the center of the square stands a bronze replica of Michelangelo's David, surrounded by reproductions of his other masterpieces. Though the originals remain carefully preserved inside Florence's museums, these statues remind visitors of the genius that shaped the Renaissance. Piazzale Michelangelo quickly became more than just a viewpoint. It is a gathering place where Florentines and travelers alike come to watch the sunset as golden light spills across the rooftops and the Arno turns to liquid fire. Poets, artists, and lovers have long described it as one of the most romantic sights in all of Italy. Stories and legends add to the magic. Some say that Michelangelo himself once dreamed of seeing the city from this vantage point, a place where he could look down on his creations as if surveying his own canvas. Another tale claims that the bronze David that stands here is not just a copy but a guardian, silently watching over Florence as night falls. The Piazzale also reflects Florence's modern history. Built during a time of national unification, it symbolized not only pride in the city's Renaissance heritage but also a new vision of Florence as part of a united Italy. Today, it remains a democratic space, open to all, where the majesty of the city can be admired freely. As the day fades and the bells of the Duomo echo across the valley, standing at Piazzale Michelangelo feels like stepping outside of time. It is not just a terrace with a view, but a reminder of Florence's enduring beauty, a city that continues to inspire wonder, just as it did in the age of Michelangelo. Just steps away from Florence's main train station stands the Basilica of Santa Maria Novella, a masterpiece that welcomes visitors into the world of Renaissance art and faith. Its striking facade, designed by Leon Battista Alberti, is one of the finest examples of early Renaissance architecture, blending classical harmony with Gothic tradition. The green and white marble patterns shine like a geometric jewel against the city's skyline. The church was built by the Dominican order in the 13th century, and inside, its vast halls became a canvas for some of the most important artists of the Renaissance. Giotto, Masaccio, Ghirlandaio, and Filippino Lippi all left their mark here, turning the basilica into a gallery of faith, science, and storytelling. Masaccio's Trinity fresco, painted in the 1420s, is one of the first true uses of linear perspective, a revolutionary technique that forever changed the way artists depicted space. Standing before it, one can almost feel the moment when art stepped into the modern age. The Tornabuoni Chapel, decorated by Ghirlandaio in his workshop, is another treasure. Its vivid frescoes depict the life of the Virgin Mary and Saint John the Baptist, filled with portraits of Florentine nobles who wanted to be immortalized within sacred history. Among the apprentices working on these frescoes was a young Michelangelo, learning the craft that would shape his genius. Santa Maria Novella is also tied to stories of science and discovery. On its facade stands a marble gnomon, part of an astronomical device used in the 16th century to measure the movement of the sun and determine the exact time of the equinox. Here, art and science came together, reflecting the spirit of Florence as a city of innovation. Legends swirl through its cloisters as well. Some say that the Dominican friars experimented with medicinal herbs in the monastery's pharmacy, creating remedies that became famous across Europe. This tradition survives today in the Officina Profumo Farmaceutica di Santa Maria Novella, one of the world's oldest pharmacies, still producing perfumes and herbal products using centuries-old recipes. But the basilica has also seen moments of turmoil. During the Council of Florence in the 15th century, heated debates echoed through its halls as church leaders attempted to unite Eastern and Western Christianity. Though the union was fragile, it placed Santa Maria Novella at the center of global religious history. Today, the basilica is both a sacred place and a living museum. To step inside is to encounter the moment when Florence led the world into a new vision of art, blending devotion, science, and beauty in a way that still resonates across the centuries. Above Florence, perched on one of the city's highest hills, stands San Miniato al Monte, a church that feels both timeless and otherworldly. Its striking Romanesque facade, adorned with green and white marble, gleams in the sunlight and seems to watch over the city below. From this vantage point, the sweeping view of Florence stretches from the red dome of the Duomo to the rolling Tuscan hills, making the journey up the hill as rewarding as the destination itself. The church was begun in the early 11th century and dedicated to Saint Minias, or San Miniato, a Christian martyr who, according to legend, was beheaded in Florence around the year 250. The story tells that after his execution, Minias picked up his severed head and walked up the hill to the site where the church now stands, choosing it as his place of rest. This dramatic tale gave the hilltop a sacred aura that still lingers today. San Miniato's interior is a marvel of medieval spirituality. The high wooden ceiling, intricate marble floors, and glittering mosaics create an atmosphere that is both solemn and enchanting. At the center of the apse shines a Byzantine-style mosaic of Christ between the Virgin and Saint Minias, dating to the 13th century, its gold background catching the flicker of candle light. Beneath the church lies a crypt supported by ancient columns, a place where pilgrims once came to venerate the relics of Saint Minias. The quiet shadows of the crypt contrast with the bright mosaic above, symbolizing the eternal dialogue between darkness and light. The adjoining cemetery adds another layer of history. Monumental tombs and sculptures line the hillside, and among those buried here are artists, writers, and notable Florentines who continue to keep watch over their city. Legends and myths still surround the church. Some say that its elevated position and mysterious geometry give it special energy, attracting seekers of spiritual power. Others whisper of secret tunnels linking San Miniato to other parts of Florence, used in times of siege or intrigue. Whether true or not, such stories add to the sense of mystery that clings to this sacred site. San Miniato al Monte is more than a church. It is a place where history, faith, and myth converge. To stand here at sunset, when Florence glows in golden light beneath the Tuscan sky, is to experience the city not only as it is, but as it has been imagined for centuries, a place of beauty, devotion, and timeless wonder. In the bustling heart of Florence lies Mercato Centrale and the nearby San Lorenzo market, a vibrant world of sights, sounds, and scents that captures the city's soul. Here, Florence is not just seen, it is tasted, smelled, and experienced in every sense, offering a glimpse into the daily life of locals as well as the city's rich culinary traditions. Mercato Centrale, housed in a grand iron and glass building from the late 19th century, is a feast for the senses. Stalls overflow with fresh produce, fragrant herbs, artisan cheeses, cured meats, and the famous Florentine steak. The air is alive with the rhythm of vendors calling out their goods, the chatter of shoppers, and the sizzling of food prepared right before your eyes. It is a place where centuries of Tuscan culinary culture converge in one lively space. Nearby, San Lorenzo Market offers a more traditional shopping experience. Its open-air stalls sell leather goods, scarves, jewelry, and souvenirs, reflecting Florence's centuries-old craftsmanship. The market has long been a meeting point for locals and travelers alike, a place where stories are shared over a cup of coffee or a slice of fresh focaccia. The markets themselves are steeped in history. The area around San Lorenzo has been a center of trade since the Middle Ages, and Mercato Centrale was designed during a time when Florence was modernizing yet seeking to preserve its artisanal roots. Walking through the stalls, it is easy to imagine merchants of the Renaissance trading spices, fabrics, and ideas, shaping the city into a hub of culture and commerce. Legends and myths linger here too. Some say that secret recipes for Florentine dishes have been passed down through generations, hidden among the shelves and stalls, waiting for the worthy to discover them. Others tell of famous artists and writers who once wandered these markets, inspired by the colors, smells, and characters that would later appear in their works. Beyond food and goods, the markets embody the energy of Florence itself, a city that thrives on tradition yet adapts to the present, where art, history, and daily life coexist seamlessly. To stroll through Mercato Centrale and San Lorenzo Market is to taste the essence of Florence, to feel its heartbeat, and to connect with the people who keep its spirit alive every day.